Welcome to the Toffee Blues, your source for all things Everton, and welcome to another Should We Sign, Should We Sell type show. Today we're going to be discussing should we sign Che Adams of Southampton. I'm joined by Paul and Mike from the Unholy Trinity Podcast. We'll get straight into it. Che Adams, obviously, with the middle name Everton, of course, Everton Adams. Obviously, that one's going to raise a few eyebrows if it did happen, but what would he bring to the table in terms of helping out our attack? Obviously, it looks pretty toothless at the moment with the poor performances up top. Would he bring anything different to the table? What's up with you on this one, Mike?
I don't mind him personally. I think obviously, again, output is not probably where you want it to be. But if you're looking to bring somebody in on potentially a loan, so just as a bit of a stopgap, he knows the Premier League. I think he's done all right at Southampton. We were linked with him, weren't we, when he was at Birmingham before he moved to Southampton as well. So whether there's underlying interest there, I know it was before Frank Lampard's time. He's strong, he's quick, he's powerful. He runs a lot. He'll put defenses under pressure. So he's got that going for him. It's just that, as I say, it's the output which concerns me in terms of we're looking to replace somebody in Dominic Calvert-Lewin who at his best can get you 25 goals a season, if you like. Will Che Adams guarantee you 10 goals a season? Maybe not. We've got a big gap to fill still with Richarlison being sold. So it's not as big a gamble as maybe some of the players we're being linked to outside of the Premier League. If you understand that they don't know the league, they haven't got experience of playing in this league, but it's a little bit of a concern. But I think he has got the right attributes to think for what we're looking for. Whether or not we can make him a better all-round finisher at his age, and he's not really old, but he's been playing for quite a few years now. I'm not sure, but definitely interest there, isn't it? Whether we can get a loan deal over the line, maybe. I wouldn't be too averse to that, but I think looking to get him on a permanent deal for me is probably going to be a no.
Yeah, it's an interesting one because I've not seen a lot of him to say that he's infinitely better than what we already have, and I'm not that impressed with what we already have. I think. And Paul, what's your take on this one? Would you have Che Adams?
Yeah, on a loan, yes, I would. As Mike was saying, he ticks a lot of boxes that will endear him to Everton fans. He's going to run a lot. He's going to go up for every header that we ping for every long ball that we throw towards him. He's going to get up close to defenders. He's going to try and rattle cages. If we start him, I think he's one of those players who Evertonians are going to get behind very, very quickly. In terms of his output, yeah, you want any striker to have a significant goal return, but you've got to be realistic. There's no striker out there who are going to go and get on a loan, who's going to come in and guarantee us 15 goals, if not more. It's not like a few years ago when Chelsea had Lukaku up for a loan, and we just knew coming in he was going to be a big success before he kicked the ball for us. There was enough evidence there to show that we managed to pull off a massive coup getting him. Sometimes you just have to be pragmatic and go for someone who's a bit unfashionable. And I would take him on a loan. If they're only willing to sell him to us, then it would really depend on the fee. To be honest, I wouldn't want us paying anything over 10 million for him. Because, sorry, I had a brain freeze then. But Adams, he's better than what we've got. He's better than Solomon Rondon. He's better than Anthony Gordon or Damari Gray as a centre forward. Is he worth 10 points on his own if he came into our team? No, probably not. But would he add something to our team? Would he bring other players into the game and allows them to have more of an influence on things? Yes, he would. I think we'd see a lot more from Dwight McNeil. We'd see probably a lot more from Anthony Gordon. We'd probably see a lot more. We'd see Michaelenko and Patterson would have someone to hit in the box if they're able to push forward and get a cross in. I think he ticks a lot of boxes, as Mike was saying. I think he put it perfectly. There's just some of these strikers who we get sometimes who maybe a bit of a diamond in the rough. They've done okay at other places in their career, but sometimes they just have to find the right club and the right fan base and the right atmosphere, and you'll see the best of them. And I'm not suggesting that Che Adams is going to come in and challenge for the Golden Boot or anything. Far from it, but I just think he'd add a lot to the team. with all his attributes and what Evertonians look for in a striker. If you were looking for someone to just go lang and slot, then he's not that player, is he? But he's going to be a player who's going to use a lot of energy, and he's going to get the crowds up by going in for tackles and chasing after balls that he's never ever going to win. So yeah, I think it makes a lot of sense. For a loan deal, I'm definitely up for it, but he's not quite my first choice. For all the strikers we've been linked with who are probably realistic, then it would be that either that guy from Rennes who we've been linked with. Apparently, he's been seen in the city. I don't know if that's real or not, or Brozier. But if it's a choice of, well, it's either take a complete gamble on someone you don't know, some kid from some foreign league who no one really knows anything about, and there's no track record of him at all. You can either have that or you can have Che Adams. Then I'd rather have Che Adams because we know what we're getting with him, don't we? Or we should know because he's a very consistent player for what he is.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just concerned there's a focal point. Is he sort of tall enough of a physical presence to
he's not
a
giant. No, he's not a giant, but he's a workhorse, isn't he? Like, I don't want to... We always go back to Marcus Bent, don't we? He's a better player than Marcus Bent was, but Marcus Bent wasn't a player who was particularly massive or absolutely rapid. I mean, he could run. He wasn't like lightning fast, but he led Everton's line very successfully during that 04-05 season, didn't he? And we've had other players who've kind of done the same. We had... What's his name? Now it's gone out my head. Jelavic. Now I'm not suggesting he's going to come in and have to start like Jelavic did, but Jelavic wasn't a particularly a strong player. He wasn't a player who you'd target. You try and get the ball to stick in the final third. But for that first 6 months, he had his uses. He was able to draw defenders, wasn't he? He was able to get on the ends of balls into the box that were played into his feet properly. So yeah, Che Adams. I'm not expecting him to come in and give it the old like Duncan Ferguson style of play, big hard target man, or be someone like that, but he'd just be someone who stretches defenders, and I think that's what we need because Gordon tries to do it, but he's just, I don't think he's got the good like decision making. He picks the wrong option too often, and Damari Gray is probably the Anthony Gordon Mark II. I think Anthony Gordon's at least got an eye for a pass, whereas Damari Gray's just fast, isn't he? I'd rather have a player who's a bit slower than that, but knows where to be and knows what to do with the ball when he's got it.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, I mean, it's not like we've had short strikers up top, I think, in the past. I think we've used the likes of sort of like Andy Johnson and stuff as like lone strikers in the past, haven't we?
Yeah, I think that's who I was thinking of, Andy Johnson. And again, at Che Adams, I'm not expecting Che Adams hasn't got the record that Andy Johnson had because Andy Johnson was a proven goal scorer when we got him, but he came in and did largely well until things changed. He got injuries, didn't he? And the team changed around him. But just because you're not absolutely rapid and you're not, fantastic on the ball and you can conjure a goal up out of nothing, or you're not a big, strong target man who can bully defenders, doesn't mean that you can't play up front in this league. You've just got to have a lot of good positional awareness and a good work rate, and you've just got to know good chemistry with your teammates. You've got to know where they're going to put the ball and make sure you arrive on time. So I think Che Adams ticks a lot of those boxes. I think he's got a lot of attributes that Evertonians will take to, and if he comes in and he can get anywhere near double figures, then I think it's definitely something we should look at.
I think he'd thrive on as well. I mean, he's one of those players with his pace, with Iwobi in the kind of form he is at the moment, with him playing centrally, looking to dictate. Hopefully, as the weeks go on, Onana comes into there as well. He'll be the kind of player who thrives on those little through balls. He's got that turn of pace, playing on the shoulders of the centre halves. Yeah, I think he can do very well. As I say, it's just that I wouldn't want to outlay sort of 10, 15 million pound on him. You'd want to bring him in, see what he can do, within that setup. And if it works out, then great. We can look to maybe get a permanent deal. But he is a player who I think could do a job as long as we can get the right kind of loan deal for him.
Does anyone know why is it that he's apparently available? Has he fell out with Hasenhüttl, or are they completely changing the way they play? Because Southampton, for me, look a team who are banging trouble this season. I think that Hasenhüttl will be gone before Christmas easily. So why is it that Che Adams is apparently not good enough for Southampton anymore? Is he out of contract and not a new one, or?
I don't know. You wonder because Hasenhüttl's under a lot of pressure. I think a lot of the squad thought he'd be gone over the summer is what I heard. I mean, how true it is, I just don't know. But now whether that's then led to some kind of saving ground bust up with certain players, because Adams was quite a regular starter from what I remember last season, and he was doing all right. But
Seems
I
a
don't know.
popular character as well, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does. Yeah. So
So
I don't think he's going to come in and upset the apple cart at Everton if he came to us either. He's a not non-controversial figure, isn't he? So we'll see. But if this Bruges seems to be the one we seem to be pinning our hopes to, rightly or wrongly. But we've got to make a decision, and it's got to be over the next sort of day or so to make sure we get someone in, ideally before the weekend.
yeah, so with Che Adams, going back to him, am I right when I say it's more a case of him just thinking, I need to get out of this place because the manager's a dummy and this club and the team's going to go down the pan, rather than the management looking at Che Adams thinking this fella's a troublemaker or this fella's not good enough?
Yeah, not that I've heard, but I think the thing is they were saying publicly they're saying, we don't want to get rid of him, he's not for sale. But then behind closed doors, they're quite happy to do some kind of deal. So we'll see.
That sounds like they kind of know what their fate is going to be, and they just want to kind of get as much money as they can now as a pattern to save them when they go down. Because I think Southampton, I think they're banging trouble. I think that they'll have a very good year if they stay up, personally.
I'm not going to write any team off as relegation fodder when we're in the state we're in.
Yeah, I get that.
Like, if we don't do some business now, if we have a bad window between now and the end of this window, we could easily finish bottom with the team we've got. It's rubbish.
I don't think so. I think the defenders, I think we've done well getting the defenders we've got. I don't think we're going to get, if we don't get a striker in, then we're definitely not getting anywhere at the top half. But I think as long as the defenders stay fit, then I think we've probably got enough at the back, because we do look a lot more solid, personally. But
we do. I
don't think we'll be finishing near bottom, regardless of what happens between now and the end of the window. The defenders we've got, as long as they stay fit.
I hope so. I'm a bag of nerves about this season so far, but it's just literally just get a striker in and we might have a chance. If Che Adams is that striker, then so be it. But it's not what I would go for. Not just for the fact that he's not the focal point that I'd have considered, but also just because he's from the Premier League, and I think we need to start being a bit more intelligent with the signings we make. It's just there's got to be someone who can do a job from abroad.
That goes back to what I'm saying. But when you get someone from abroad and there's not much of a track record, then it's just a complete gamble. Or even if they have got a track record, they could come in and just be another Sandro Ramirez. You don't know. Sometimes you better go in with the devil, don't you? But not always. Obviously, there's been some players that we've signed over the years, and you think, why did we bother doing that? Can we not just cast the net further afield? But Che Adams, I'm not saying he could come in and be absolutely rubbish for us, but I just think he's a lot safer a bet than going and gambling on some young player in his 20s who not many of us have seen.
Yeah, I mean, every signing's a gamble, probably even more so when it involves us. But I think it's one of those. It's not the most inspiring signing. I don't think
it's not sexy, is it? It's not sexy, but you've got to remember, mate. Some of our most key signings over the past 15, 20 years have been signings who were not sexy. Gareth Barry, Sylvain Distin. At least for me, I liked Distin. Pienaar when we first picked him up, Arteta when we first picked him up. I think sometimes, not every, as I said, there's not a Lukaku out there who is just his parent club are desperate for him to loan him out or are giving him away, and you just know if we would just went and got him, we'd get 15 goals on our side easy. But there isn't no striker out there, at least any that I've seen us linked with, who's realistic. Sometimes you just have to take what's on the shelf and then go home and eat that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not completely turning my nose up at him because I think he probably will improve us generally, but I still think we should be looking at someone different. Obviously, that's each to their own, but yeah, I mean, we don't really know. Still yet to understand exactly what way we're trying to play, because we haven't really seen a cohesive attack yet to see what way we're going to be trying to attack.
You know, you could see it, but when Rondon came on against Villa, you could see how, if we were having to go long, for example, that we could actually do something from that. So the players then around them, so whether it be Gordon, Gray, McNeil, whatever it might be, will then read the fact that he's going to win a flick on, he's going to bring us into play. And then it allows, and also the central midfielders, as we saw with Onana, to come into the box as well and join up with the attack. So I do think maybe a bigger, stronger striker, i.e. Dominic Calvert-Lewin, it's more designed for him to play off him as a pressure reliever. Against Chelsea would have been ideal, wouldn't he? Bringing the ball down, winning little flick-ons, winning fouls to just relieve that pressure. So I do think maybe it is designed for a bigger striker. We've got to think though. Well, Dominic should be back in say 4 weeks. Fingers crossed, all being well. Now, if that's the case, there's no reason why you can't play Che Adams on either side of Dominic Calvert-Lewin. There's no reason why you couldn't go to a 2 up top and play a number 10 behind them. You've got to be fluid in that side of things as well. So maybe he might look to do that. They're the options that we've got. But I do think having that central focal point is what Frank Lampard is looking at. So it works better with Dom or Rondon. But Che Adams can definitely come in. He's still better suited playing centrally than the other three that we've seen in there over the last couple of weekends.
It's all right. It would be an improvement on that without a shadow of a doubt.
So should we probably wrap up? Just okay. Would you have Che Adams? And if no, why not? And if yes, under what terms?
I'll go with Mike. Let's go with Mike first.
Yeah.
So I'd say yes if it's a loan. I wouldn't look to sign him permanently unless we're talking buttons, and that's nothing against him. I just think that he's more of a shorter term option. See how he gets on, see how he fits in, especially when Dom comes back as well. What happens to Che Adams in that situation? So I'd say yes if it's a loan. No if we're talking a 10 to 15 million pound permanent transfer.
Yeah, I'd be inclined to agree with that. I would, if he was on loan or on the cheap, if you're like under 10 million, I'd probably consider it. But anything over that, I really don't think it'd be good transfer business for us. Your take, Paul?
Clean sweep, same as you boys. I'd take him on a loan, or if they're adamant that they'll only sell him on a permanent, then it's got to be less than 10 million, not a penny more than that. And it's got to be probably a 2 or a 3 year deal. And if you won't take that, then you go on to someone else. Hopefully. I mean, that's one of the big drawbacks to, or one of the big arguments in favour of why we shouldn't be selling Anthony Gordon. I don't know, we've done a video about that already, but if we do go for a striker in these last few days of the window, is there enough time to get somebody? We can't afford to spend a week on someone and then it falls through because we can't hold them down. Then we have to start from scratch with someone else. So hopefully we get an answer for this either way. We just make our offer. If they don't accept it, we have to move on quick rather than haggle.
Definitely. But there you have it, guys. Very much mixed reviews on Che Adams. A general consensus being we get him if we consider him if he was at the right price, pretty deep, maybe a loan, not beyond that really. But let us know your opinions as well. Get the comments in. How much you'd be willing to go up to in terms of price for Che Adams. If you wouldn't sign him, let us know why you wouldn't sign him. Get all your comments in. Give this video a like and of course subscribe for more content. Until next time, guys. Thanks for watching on the Toffee Blues.